Welcome back, Defenders. Jake here. Check it out. Ukraine's quote of the day is from Tolkien. It is not the strength of the body that counts, but the strength of the spirit. Ukraine still has spirit, despite Russia's best attempts to break it. And last night, the Russians launched another massive drone attack across Ukraine. 38 drones were launched and 29 were successfully shot down. Russia's plan this winter, once again, is to target Ukraine's energy infrastructure. For a report on the ground in the capital city of Kyiv, this is British author John Sweeney.
War Diary, day something. Walking back from the boozer, and listen to this. This is Putin's lullaby. Here's the great old beautiful city of Kyiv. And this awful sound is the sound of the air raid siren. So we know Russian missiles, Iranian drones are coming to try and kill people here. The reason I'm pointing this out is not because this is a novelty to me. Oh no, I've heard it before on several occasions. I just want to point out to people in the Western world sitting in comfort that this war is continuing. I'm fully aware of the awful things that are happening in Israel-Palestine. And my heart goes out to those people there who've suffered on both sides. But at the same time, this war is much more clear. A fascist dictatorship invaded a peaceful democracy, and we must support them. Full stop.
Full stop. So Russia, the reports are, has stockpiled 800 missiles in Crimea, gearing up for winter strikes. The Ministry of Energy has earlier cautioned that Russia is anticipating stable frosts in Ukraine, aiming to launch massive strikes on the country's energy facilities. In particular, Caliber-type missiles are concentrated there, and Onyx-type missiles are also launched from the Crimean Peninsula. The enemy is accumulating potential. This is obvious. So despite the best attempts from Western sanctions to limit the imports of the necessary components, Russia is obviously still capable of building Caliber cruise missiles and other missile types, with the intended plan of, once again, massive coordinated strikes on Ukraine's energy infrastructure, the goal being to deprive as many civilians as possible of light, heat, and running water this winter. But there is good news. Countries around the world have been doing everything to help Ukraine harden and protect their energy infrastructure. Ukraine has had a full year now to prepare for Russia's obvious move. U.S. earmarks additional $500 million for Ukraine's energy infrastructure. The United States has already provided Ukraine with $520 million in aid for the energy sector. We know that another $500 million is currently on the way. Money will be allocated to high priority areas such as transformers and repair capabilities. So this year is not going to be a repeat of last winter. Ukraine's air defenses are much better, and they've taken steps to harden their energy infrastructure so they're not as susceptible to these Iranian drones and Russian cruise missiles. Let's now talk about U.S. politics for a little bit. We have good news. The United States government didn't shut down. But before I get to the details, I want to welcome back a returning sponsor on this channel. The sponsor of today's video is Surfshark VPN, and Surfshark VPN is an app and browser extension that encrypts all of your data while online to add an extra layer of protection to keep your personal information safe from hackers and trackers. Aside from its military-grade encryption, why is Surfshark the best VPN on the market? And it's because it's the only VPN that allows installation on an unlimited number of devices, all on one account for one price. Surfshark can be great for sending and receiving files securely online or finding great shopping deals. But something I like about Surfshark is when using various streaming services such as Netflix, it allows me to unlock different content in other countries. For example, here in the United States on Netflix, we don't have Rick and Morty. Rick and Morty is my favorite animated show to watch, and currently the new season is out. However, if I pull up Surfshark and switch my country location to Japan, all I then have to do is refresh the page and boom, now I can watch the new season of Rick and Morty. Likewise, I can change my country location to other countries around the world to unlock fantastic TV shows and movies to watch. There is no risk in trying Surfshark as they have a 30-day money-back guarantee. Use the promo code jakebro and sign up today for an exclusive Black Friday deal and get an extra 6 months for free. Thank you again to Surfshark for being a sponsor on this channel. Be sure to check them out if you're looking for a good VPN. Now, concerning the budget here in the United States, President Biden signs temporary spending bill. This is the continuing resolution, without aid for Ukraine and Israel. And it's without Israel aid that actually gives me a lot of hope that aid for Ukraine will also be passed. Congressional leaders are aiming to pass the Ukraine and Israel supplemental aid bill before Christmas. If it's before Christmas, wonderful. I personally think Speaker Johnson is going to schedule a vote between Christmas and New Year's, so as few Americans are paying attention as possible. And the reason why is kind of shocking. According to a Reuters survey, more Americans support arming Ukraine than Israel. Here are the numbers. In a potentially worrisome sign for Israel, just 31% of poll respondents said that they supported sending arms to Israel, while 43% opposed the idea. The rest were unsure. Support for Israel remains strongest amongst Republicans, while roughly half of Democrats were opposed. By comparison, 41% of people answering the poll said they backed sending weapons to Ukraine, compared to only 32% who were opposed. The rest were unsure. When it came to Ukraine, support for sending weapons was stronger amongst Democrats. So, military aid for Israel is polling at 31 in favor, 43 opposed, whereas sending weapons to Ukraine, 41% in favor and 32% opposed. So this is a problem for AIPAC. This is Israel's Political Action Committee that lobbies Congress for support for Israel. I'm going to be honest, Israel is losing the public perception battle on social media. They're definitely winning the war against Hamas, but when it comes to young people watching videos on TikTok and Instagram, Israel perceptually is losing this war. So the fact that aid for Israel has not been passed yet, this is probably concerning for AIPAC. It's probably also concerning for Speaker Johnson. I've been following him on Twitter the last couple weeks, just seeing what he posts, what he talks about. He doesn't talk about Ukraine, but he does talk about Israel a lot. So here's Speaker Johnson at a pro-Israeli rally in Washington, D.C., holding hands with the Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries and the Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer. So Speaker Johnson really supports and really wants military aid for Israel. And if he wants this, he's probably going to have to pair it with military aid for Ukraine. This has been the talking points for Senate Democrats as well as President Biden. President Biden is fighting to get about an additional $60 billion in military aid for Ukraine over the next year or two. So I think it's going to happen, guys. I'm actually very positive now that despite objections from members of Speaker Johnson's base, I do think he's going to schedule a vote, some kind of combined aid supplemental package. It might include aid for Taiwan, it might include border security, whatever Speaker Johnson wants. Just schedule a vote and make it happen. And this will be a huge benefit for Ukraine, hopefully with very large military aid packages resuming in January. Fingers crossed. In the meantime, Russia is still trying to encircle Avdiivka. Situation is very hot. In an intelligence report, the British MOD warned Russian forces are close to the town's huge coke plant, but would suffer significant losses if they tried to take it. Every day I check the map, Avdiivka continues to hold. Russia hasn't made any noticeable progress, in my opinion, the last 2 weeks. They seem stuck at this rail line, unable to figure out how they're going to assault this chemical plant north of the town. On the other side of the war, Ukraine claims successes in heavy fighting on the Russian-held side of the Dnipro River. And details in this region, there's not a lot of reliable sources because I do think for OPSEC, people shouldn't be posting pictures or videos of what the Ukrainians are doing on the other side of the river. But the reports are that they've landed forces at 5 or 6 different locations, probing for weaknesses, conducting night raids. This is a huge problem for the Russians as they don't want to be focusing on this region. Kherson is the region they care the least about. And Anders Puck Nielsen put out a really good video 3 days ago talking about Russia's dilemma and what Ukraine might be attempting to do. And if you remember, a couple days ago, there was this erroneous report that Russian forces were preparing to fall back to more defensible positions in the Kherson region. And that might not have been an error. That might have been a real report that was just released too soon. So Anders breaks it down really well in this video. I'll link it down below and I'll share it on the community tab of my channel. But the Russians in this region are at a huge disadvantage because on the other side of the river, this is a higher elevation. So Ukrainians from the north side of the river have better positioning for artillery and drone attacks on the Russians on the south side of the river. So Russia is seriously considering falling back to prepared defense lines at a higher elevation to get away from these artillery and drone strikes coming from the north bank. If they fell back 15 or 20 kilometers, their forces would probably fare better, and then it would be Ukrainian forces rushing into this relatively low area of the country being targeted by Russian artillery and drones. Perceptually, it looks bad. I don't think Putin is going to allow this prior to his re-election announcement in December, but this is something that the Russian military is definitely considering. Russian army is double its size on the eve of invasion and likely will stay that way according to a report. The Kremlin's problem is falling troop quality that can't be fixed without politically risky, full-scale mobilization. Also, it is usually not possible for a country to get its soldiers killed forever. So this is Kovalenko, the director of the Information Resistance Military Information Platform, said that Moscow's troop strength inside Ukraine exceeds 400,000 soldiers, and that even sustained casualties of between 800 and 1,000 men a day are unlikely to erode that figure significantly. So Russia has achieved an equilibrium inside the occupied territories. Yes, Russia is losing between 800 and 1,000 a day, but the Russian military doesn't care. Putin doesn't care, because back inside Russia, they're signing contracts for, conscripting, and quietly mobilizing about 1,000 men a day. So every day, about 1,000 soldiers are going home in body bags. and a fresh 1,000 Russian men get off the bus in Ukraine to begin their service. So how long can this go on? And I imagine Putin hopes that this equilibrium can hold through his election next March. Russia's next president will be just like Putin, according to Kremlin spokesperson. So Putin, who's currently 71, has been in power since 1999. He's running for re-election in 2024 to serve 2 more terms, which would mean he would remain president until 2036. Putin's never leaving office. He's a dictator for life. He's going to die in office someday. And somebody asked Peskov, well, who comes next? Who replaces Putin? And he just replied, someone who's the same, a different person, but still the same as Putin in every way. So this Russian ideology of we're going to reconstitute our empire, we're going to take back countries in the Caucasus, the Baltics, Central Asia. Yeah, I imagine Putin eventually, if he successfully lives another 10, 12 years, will pick and groom a successor to replace him who will make sure that nothing in Russia changes, that these wars to rebuild the Russian Empire will continue indefinitely. But there is a dark horse on the ballot this year in Russia. Convicted war criminal Girkin announces intention to run for president. I kind of forgot Girkin was a thing and that he was still alive. He was arrested early or midsummer and has been in Russian prison ever since. But he's designated his surrogates to announce and I guess do the paperwork for him to be on the ballot to run for president in Russia. He has no chance of winning. I don't see what this will accomplish, but it's interesting. It's fun. I do honestly miss the videos from Girkin and Prigozhin because those were the only 2 Russian guys critical of Putin and critical of the war, even though Girkin is an ultra-nationalist who doesn't have anything nice to say about Ukraine. Russia accused of halting POW exchanges. This unfortunately is very sad news. Despite a significant series of prisoner swaps in May, exchanges have been stagnant since the summer, with the last POW exchange occurring on August 7th. So Russia is no longer willing to swap Ukrainian POWs for Russian POWs. I suspect that, one, it's bad press for Russia when they return these emaciated men who have all been tortured, but they also probably don't want their own soldiers back. These Russian soldiers who have been in a Ukrainian POW camp have had time to get the truth. And I think a lot of these Russian men are realizing that their existence in a Ukrainian POW camp is better treatment than how their leadership treats them on the front lines in the trenches. So this is incredibly disheartening that Russia is not doing any POW exchanges anymore. It says in this article that Russia might also be doing this to put political pressure on the families, the Ukrainian families of these POWs, to negotiate peace talk, blah, 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 end the war as fast as possible so that these POWs can be released. So they're now being treated as hostages. Something I want to mention to you guys, this Twitter channel, the Kremlin Yap, probably over the last 2 years, I've shared dozens, if not close to 100 clips of the insane, criminal, and stupid things that the Russians say on their own TV networks. I think it's incredibly important for Western audiences to see these clips and hear what the Russians have to say for themselves, but this channel has decided to end their work. We've decided to close the Kremlin Yap project. It was not easy for us to make this decision. Our team of Ukrainian volunteers has worked really hard for almost a year, but resources are limited, and burnout is real. I support their decision. I imagine watching Kremlin State TV all day, every day is very difficult. I really appreciated their clips and getting the word out, but you have to take care of yourself before you can take care of others. So I just want to thank the team at the Kremlin Yap for everything they've done the last 20 months, getting these clips out to the world. Here's the good news. Dutch Defense Minister announces another $2 billion worth of military aid will be sent to Ukraine for 2024. So as far as EU aid, countries like Hungary and Slovakia are being difficult. They're blocking a lot of stuff. So it's best if countries unilaterally announce aid packages to Ukraine. The Dutch have been incredible. Thank you so much to everyone in the Netherlands. This will make a big difference next year. Finland announced they will send their next aid package worth 100 million euros. This is the 20th aid package that Finland has sent Ukraine. So thank you so much to everyone from Finland. This is pretty cool. United 24 has partnered with Lego or Lego, like independent Lego creators, to create these 3 sets. We've got Swallow's Nest in Crimea, the Mother Ukraine statue, and the old water tower of Mariupol. So if you want to buy one or you want to buy the whole set, I'll put this link down below to United 24's website, and I guess you can get on a waiting list, or you can donate a certain amount to get these Lego sets. They look pretty cool. Final couple clips I want to share with you. The first one involves a Ukrainian boy, Halib, whose picture I think you will recognize. And this is a follow-up news story because he's almost 2 years older now. And this is what Halib has to say about his life in Kherson.
14-year-old Halib became world famous after the occupation. His photo, which went viral on social media, became a symbol of the stolen childhood of Ukrainian children. Then, the boy's dream was to become a chief. Now, his priorities have changed.
Да, поменяла. Хочется теперь в армию идти. Это на видео нельзя сказать.
Почему?
Убивать хотелось. Людей, которые приходят сюда. Из-за того, что такие люди, как они, убивают таких же солдат, как с нашей стороны.
The teenager that
Halib was 12 when this war started. He's currently 14. I think the goal for everyone should be to make sure this war is over before he's old enough to fight in it. Final clip I have for you are some Ukrainian defenders passing time on the front lines, and this is how they choose to spend the time they have.
Ось мій бойовий товариш на позиції, це його робота. Покажи. Це духовний стан військовослужбовця. Обличчя тіні. Це його внутрішній світ. А от автор. І все це він робить на моїй позиції.
А ось гранатомет.
Да, це на моїй території він робить, тому я в долі. А от ще песик.
О.
Та песик.
Looks good. That's all for this update video. Glory to Ukraine, glory to the heroes. If you found this video informative, give me a thumbs up. Best way to support the channel. Comments and questions, let me know down below. I love hearing from you guys. Till the next video, keep defending the truth, keep defending democracy.